Sorry, thank you. No audio. So welcome to my photo editing live stream where I edit your photos here live that you submit to me before the stream starts. And you can always use the link that's in any previous photo editing live stream if the next one is not up or I forget to put it in there. But I always use the same link for you guys to submit your images, and I prefer the raw images when possible. Uh, that gives me the most flexibility when I'm doing the editing. And wow, the font is really small on this chat window. I don't know what happened there, but I can't hardly read it. But no matter. We're here to watch me edit, I guess, right? So let me see if I can pull up the right screen. Of course not. Let's see. And let me move this over here. Okay, I'm here. I'm here. I'm just trying to get the screen right. There we go. And there's me. Okay, great. Um, and then let me pull up the chat window. So I see Willem's here. Uneasy Rider. Wow, that's a new one. Jeff Painter, Plato, Marcia, good to see you from Florida, I'm sure. And Paul Chris, awesome. So small group today. And just a few images. So let's go ahead and just dive into it. Okay, so we have just a camera with a hand. So I'm thinking I kind of like I'm going to do a pretty heavy crop here. I like the way the light's coming in here through the glasses. So let me apply a basic preset that I always do, which is simply optical corrections and noise reduction. And I'm going to do a vertical crop like this. Just come in tight and maybe even make it even 4:3. Let's see how that looks. Maybe a little more balance. This. I think that's it. Then we'll do black and white. And I may change this to a landscape. The vertical's not quite working. I mean, it works, but I think I would like it. I think I'd like it actually more in line with the eye. I'm just brainstorming here a bit. I think I like this a little better. And I could even do super wide like this. Let me try. Just need a little more coverage down, maybe all the way to the shutter button. Yeah, okay, I like that. All right, and I don't think I need to do much with the tones and everything. They look pretty good, but I'll play a little bit here. Maybe a tiny bit of contrast. Let's see what's in the background. Anything? No. Let's push the highlights so we get almost white. Yeah, that's almost completely white there. down here. And what I'm doing, when I put my mouse over the different parts of the image, I'm looking at the numbers that pop up here. So when I put my mouse over here, you'll see it says 253, 253, 253, which means it's almost like, because the maximum number is 255. So if I keep pushing this until it's all 255, now I know this is completely white, which is kind of what I want. And then I'm going to just do a slight adjustment here. So I really want to emphasize sort of what's going on over here a little bit too. So I'm going to pull the highlights in, maybe even the exposure a bit. Let's try clear view. Okay. And I want to level this just a tiny bit. I know I'm working too hard on a relatively simple image, but let me just level. Let me level it against the lens, even though we don't see this in the image. Did I click something? Yeah. And a little bit tighter. One more pixel. Sorry. Okay. I'm going to call it there. Because that's pretty much the business of photography, right? You have the eye, the shutter button, and the viewfinder. That's the business end. What happens on the other side almost doesn't matter. I would have included the other side. If we look at, let me zoom out. If we look at the entire image, whoops. Normally, that's a little bit too much. Yeah. Normally, I would think about including the front end of this lens, but I would like to see what it's taking a picture of. So since we don't have that, to me, the lens is irrelevant. What's important here is the concentration, or the implied concentration, of the photographer using his tool. So yeah, I think that that came out pretty good. So we'll just do a full screen on that, take me out. I think that looks pretty good, and I like the wide angle aspect of it. I think that works. Okay. William says maybe remove the street light. Possibly, but this has, I forget the photographer's name, but there's a photographer that, one of the masters, right, that likes to split the scene into two pieces using elements that are in the scene. And I think the pole serves that purpose to some extent, where it's separating the photographer and the camera, but they're still connected, right? I don't want to overthink it too much, but I don't mind the pole being there, in other words. Okay. Let's go to, whoops, sorry. Let's go to the next one. And okay, we have a little bit of a lake here, or a river. Gosh, this looks familiar. This looks like, gosh, Prince William Forest Park. Who sent this in, I wonder? Michael, yeah, this looks very, very familiar. But this is a very common scene. Now, obviously this is morning and it's a foggy morning. So the problem is it's washing out all the colors, and I like the reflection in the water, so I'm gonna kind of go against the grain here. I don't think the the fogginess of the scene is helps here. It's not foggy enough. So the couple of options, let me just apply basic preset first. Couple options I have is to make it even foggier, say reducing the contrast, right? Uh, which that just doesn't work for me. Um, because then we'd have to focus on these ducks maybe. But if I clean up the fog, all right. So I have these two options. Make it foggier. That's not bad actually. Or clean up the fog. Let's go this direction. I'll think about the crop while I'm doing a little bit, because the crop is the crop that I'm going to use is going to be dependent on how much contrast or no contrast that I use. Uh, a little more color. All right, I'm not done with the contrast here yet, but let me work on a crop. This is kind of the direction I'm going. I don't think black and white is, yeah, that looks awful. All right, so let's go with hmm, let's go with them going out of the frame. And I like this little bird flying because it kind of adds. Yeah, I think I'll go with this. Okay. Now let me come back to this contrast issue. Um, just give it a little bit of a glow. So I'm doing two opposite things here. I'm adding clear view, but then I'm pulling the contrast. Because I don't want to lose the softness of the image. So that's why I'm pulling the contrast back. But I want a little bit more punch. So I increase the saturation and pull the blacks here. Maybe let me do the blacks separately. I'm going to do a local adjustment like this. Let's go into the blacker areas and just increase that reflection look here. I'm going to increase the luminosity. Whoops. Make it a little tighter. Okay, and then let's crank up the saturation just a hair. And then I'm going to pull the contrast back just a little bit up here. Okay. Not the blacks. Just a little bit. Let me try clear view again. No, I'll leave it. All right. So let me work on these colors just a little bit. Right in here, and here, and here. A little bit here. About this one. And right there. Maybe here. Yeah, okay. Then one more local adjustment. Let me see if I can just pull, whoops. Yeah, it's too soft in here. Just a little bit in the water. I need. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. The ducks just don't have the presence though. Let me back off a little bit. I'm gonna see if I can give these ducks a little more presence. But I think they're just, yeah, that's too much. The negative. Okay. Maybe some highlights. This duck is not getting the love he needs here. Let's see. And this one's getting a hair too much. All right. That doesn't look too bad. Just this one is getting a bit too much. So let me make it a little smaller. Okay. Uh, okay, I think that works. This one duck has too much on him, though. I'm going to just make a new control point for this guy. Because the female looks a little bit brighter for some reason. And it doesn't need to be quite as bright. Okay, good. So William's asking, is it possible to add fog on the surface but keep the reflection as now? Not so much. That's something you would do in Photoshop with layers. You can't do layers in Photolab. So if I took it into Photoshop, I could do it, but I'm not good at it because I don't do that very often. Okay, let me see before and after here. Maybe a little more softness in the top. So let me go back to this control line and give it a little less contrast. Okay, I'm gonna call it there. Maybe just a little bit less vibrance overall, saturation. Actually, I should do that with this local adjustment. Go back here. I just pull it back a little bit. Okay, now I'm done. So there's the before and after. Like I said, I thought the image on the left was just a little bit too soft overall. Just not the look I think that I would have wanted from this image. So the image on the right, I wanted to maintain at least some of that mist, right, or fog, but mainly on the land. The water I wanted to be kind of reflective, and this is a very subjective choice, of course. Uh, you know, keeping, I like nice, shiny, reflective water in my water scenes. So that's why I went there, but I didn't want to lose sort of the softness in the background because that is what it is. And then, of course, if I export this, I'll clean up a lot of the noise too, but it's not really necessary here. I like a little bit of grain in the image that we're seeing. If I punch in, you can see there's a little bit of color noise and grain because I did so much pushing and pulling on the contrast and colors, but I think it works for this image. If anything, I might even add a little bit to it later. But okay, so again, there's the before and there's the after. And composition wise, I just wanted ducks to kind of look like they're leaving the frame, and but mainly just to create this balance here and here. Because I think if the ducks were a little bit off to the left or right, it just it just wouldn't have the same balance, I don't think. But okay, again, very, very, very subjective edit here, just like the first one I did. All right, let's see. This one looks like it's. Let's see. I wonder if I even need to bother because I see a DxO suffix here. I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't. I don't need to apply any kind of optical corrections. So this image may have been edited already. So what would I do different? So I don't think there's anything I can recover. I can recover the sky a little better. All right, so yeah, let's do that. So I'm going to keep the silhouette of the trees because I don't have much choice. They're completely, crushed to black already. So let's just add a little bit of exposure. A lot, actually, almost 2 stops. And I'm going to go in here, and I want to emphasize these blues. So if I push the shadows a little bit, just give it a little bit more blue here. And let's kind of do the same. Ooh, that doesn't look good. We'll have to make a new. Let's not put too much blue, just a little bit. And let's make a new control line up here. And I want to shift these a little bit blue. I'll just do that with white balance. Let's do another control point right in here. See if we can bring that in a little more. And oops, let's make a new control point. Yeah, right here. We'll spread that a bit. Pull the luma back. Chroma back. There we go. Add a little bit of warmth there. Maybe a little bit here. Not that one. And pull the highlights in a tiny bit. Okay. A little less vibrance. All right, so am I making any difference here? Let me see. Okay. And again, I don't think there's anything here in the shadows that are worth. Let me just see what's in here. Yeah, there's nothing there. Okay. All right, composition wise, I think we're good. The only thing I might do, let me think about. I think this is already framed really well. It's just a little bit heavy on the right side here. Uh, so if I were to do 16:9 crop, go this way. I don't know. I'm kind of losing. So I'm just trying to give it a little balance. Okay, I'm going to call it there. So if we look at side by side, yeah, basically all I did was brighten it up a bit and, spread some of the warmth around and a little bit of a crop here because it just feels a little bit heavy on this side, on the right. So I think that works. Because it's still kind of silhouette. I need a little, I don't know. Let me go back here. Let's try just a little bit of clear view. I need a little more contrast in the image. All right. I think that's it. All right, so there's the before and after. I just needed a little more contrast between the blacks and the other tones in the image. And I think that works. There's a little bit of lens flare here too, which would have been nice to kind of amplify a little, but I think I'm content with that. So there's the before, and there's the after. All right, let's see. Paul says, your wife likes my edit. Okay, that's cool. Taken in 2016. Appreciate that. Hello, Paul's wife, Mrs. Crisp. Okay, so we have a cat. All right. With wildlife, I always like to do square crops. Not that this is really wildlife. We'll just say with animals in general. And I'm not a big fan of the feet in the frame there either. Maybe just come in very tight. Let's see. What if we do that? That's an interesting. Okay, I like this crop right here. Okay, this is a JPEG, so I'm not gonna have a lot of luck pushing shadows, but we'll do a little bit. There. Let's add a vignette. We'll move the vignette off center here. Something like that. And let me push the shadows again. I think that's about all I can get out of it. And let's work on the eyes a little bit with a local adjustment. Okay, push that, go with some clarity. Okay, a little shorter, a little bit smaller. Maybe some contrast. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. And then let's do a little bit of a jump on the claws here. Because with animals, right, it's all about their eyes, their talons, their claws, their teeth. If they show them, I like to always try to make those things stand out. Let's see, that's probably too much. Yeah. Okay. All right, that's good. And then let me work on the tones a little bit on this blanket. So let's do a very tight mask here on the tones. See some here, a little bit here, and here. Oops, I need to move this one out. Let's get rid of it. Something like this, and then we'll push. Okay, let's push the tones a little bit. This needs to be a little bigger. Let's push the tones a little bit where it needs to be. A little bit there and a little bit here. Maybe there. Okay. And then we'll add. Oh, I don't have white balance here. So, dang it, I would have liked to warm. Whoops. I would have liked to have warmed that up a bit. But we're going to just push the tones kind of across the board, maybe a little bit more in the mid-tones. This one can be smaller. This needs to be bigger. All right, I'm going to call it there. I wish, well, let me see. Let me see if I can do anything. This. Not really. No, I don't like that. Okay. Maybe just a tiny bit. Okay, I'm going to call it there. Whoops. And this button, we'll do a side by side. So there's the before and after. I kind of like the angle, or the way I put the kitten off center. And yeah, got rid of all these distractions and just made it about the kitten there. I think that works pretty well. So there's the before. Let's zoom out. There's the before. You can hardly see the kitten. It's so dark. And here's the after. And yeah, I think that works pretty well. Okay, next one. Another landscape. Horizon's crooked. Let's see. And some softness in the background. And okay, so I'm going to do my usual here. Let's put the optical corrections, or my default, right, setting here. And I got to fix the horizon. That's just bugging me. Okay. That looks about right. And I see what we're trying to do here, but I would have gotten a little bit lower. Okay, let me see what the auto, yeah, it's not doing nothing. I need to pull this. So the light is coming in here. I like to pull the exposure one way or the other just to see where the lights and shadows are sometimes. And then I try to emphasize those in the edit. But I don't, okay, I see a little bit right in here and across the snow. And just a touch here and here. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. Let's do a monochrome because there's really only blue in this scene. Tiny bit of color here, but the sun is up here. No. I gotta check one more thing. Yeah, I gotta do a black and white on this one. And let's do a strong or balanced, faded. If I do faded, that's not going to work for the lighting that I wanted to do. Just neutral. I don't know. I like faded on this. But then the lighting that I wanted to do is not going to be stand out quite as much. But I'm going to start here with a faded look. And then this horizon is still a tiny bit off for me. And then composition wise, we definitely need to fix this. I don't know if we need this foreground or not, because the only context this gives us is maybe how deep the snow is. I don't know if I can. I would like these stones to be a little bit more on the right. Let me look at this crop again. If I put them on the left, yeah, it's too heavy. All right. So I'm going to have to center this quite a bit. All right. Oh, it's 16 by 9, maybe. But then I would lose sort of this foreground. I'd like to keep these rocks in here because they kind of give the scene a little bit of like what do they call it? I can't think of the word. Foundation, so to speak, to the rest of the scene. But if I do a 16 by 9 without those in there, I don't know how much. I guess. I guess that kind of works. Let me look at my other crop again. Versus 16 by 9. I think this works better. In fact, I might even do a little bit more square. think a square crop kind of fixes my problem with the position of these rocks. Yeah, okay. So yeah, totally opposite of 16 by 9, but not a bad idea. uh yeah, anchors. Anchor point is a good word. Uh it kind of anchors the picture. I think that makes more sense than foundation, but same idea. All right, so let's see if there's anything left in the sky to fix. I don't think so. Because what I'd like to do is, yeah, let's not do that. Let's make the sky a little bit softer. So what I'm going to do is just get rid of this and replace it with something, yeah, more like that. Same thing up here. Okay. I'll fix the reflection. Let's use something more like that. Ooh. What we'll do is we'll pull the opacity back. All right, good enough. And then let's see if I can. I'd really like to do is make this kind of like we did in the last image with the river and the ducks. I want to try and soften this up a little bit, but keep some contrast. This is a little bit too dark here. I don't like this dot here. Okay. All right. We're almost there. So let me work on some of these tones. So I want, oh, this is getting clipped here now. That's okay. I can fix that with the control line that I put. Let me check the brightness. Gosh, we're still in the grays down here. And then these are clipped to white. So when I do black and whites, I try to have a good range of tones, but you can see it's just a lot of grays. Okay, that's better. Yeah, that spread it out over here a little bit. And I'm gonna have to do a little bit of light painting. Because right in here is where I want to push the light. It's a little bit behind this tree. And then on these rocks, same Same deal. Okay, and then just a little less light in here. I'll push the luma up, pull the blacks in. A little bit more there. Okay. A little bit right in here, but just smaller. Okay. And then this control line, I'm going to pull the highlights in. I've got a sensor spot here. And this control point, where is it? This one's a little bit too big. Okay, and I want to affect only the, whoops. I need to make a new one right here. And let's put this on a bright spot right there. We're just going to push those a little bit more. All right. Let me just add one right here. I don't know. Gosh. Let me see where I'm at. I think that's it. Otherwise, I'll be here all day. So let's do a before and after. Yes, again, I always like to balance the scene. This is a little bit too strong here, but anyway, and these rocks were just weighing things down. That's why I was saying earlier, I wanted them more to the right and at an angle to kind of lead up to this tree. But if it did that, then I could use probably a 16:9. I think that would have looked better. But because of these rocks in the foreground, the 16:9 just didn't work for me. So that's why I went with this square crop. Um, I didn't do the best job for black and white tones, but uh, this is the kind of image I'd probably spend some more time on. I definitely got to fix this one control point here. That didn't work quite as the way I was expecting. But I would spend some more time on this, working with the tones. Because again, the sky is not separated right. That's a little better, a little bit lighter. So again, here's the before and after. I would definitely spend more time with the tones on this if I wasn't doing this completely live, but I think that works. Oh, Paul's asking, where did I place the control point on the upper control line? If you're asking about the sky, this control line here, it's a little low, but basically on one of the grays, because moving this around, it's not making a whole lot of difference. But yeah, I think if that's, hopefully that answers your question. It's not making much difference wherever I put it in this case. Okay. But yeah, I think this compositionally at least is a better image. I would definitely have to spend some more times on the tones, particularly in the centers and the sky. It's not quite exactly what I was what I would, it wouldn't be my final edit, in other words, but this is probably about 90% there. All right, let's go to the next one. Yeah, Paul, it doesn't make much difference if the question is about putting it on the highlights, because I had the sliders set at 50% and they were pretty much clipped already in the sky. Yeah, I mean, we're talking about this area in here. That's why I use the healing brush to to try to mitigate some of these clipped highlights by just pulling, sky from other parts. So I'll just give you one more example. So I did that instead of trying to save the highlights. I just pulled from a part of the sky where the highlights aren't already clipped. Okay, let's go to the next one. And we have this flower and this waterfall. Okay, this is interesting. It's all out of focus back here though, because you had to get close to the flower. What was your settings here? F11. Man, and you still got this blurry. Okay, so you must be really close. What lens is this? The fisheye. Oh, okay. My God, you got the lens almost touching the flower if this is the 8mm fisheye. Okay, now it makes sense. Now this all makes sense because I was like, how are you at f11 and everything's still blurry? And then I saw it's 8mm fisheye, so you're like right up on that flower. Compositionally, I think there's just too much going on. I'm gonna make a very, very tight crop. So let me just apply my basic preset. If I take off the distortion correction, what does it look like? I think it looks better with the distortion turned off. Okay. And let's try 5x4, kind of a classic crop. Something like that. Maybe, yeah, I shouldn't be touching here. But I think that's enough. And a slight tilt this way. Okay, let's work on the tones. Just a few local adjustments on this. Maybe global. Let me see. A little bit of a push there in the shadows. Midtones and highlights. Pull on the blacks. Okay. So we're getting there. We're getting there. A couple of local adjustments and we'll be done. So I'm going to do some here. Right in here and here. Okay. Okay. And then let's minimize what's going on around the flower. And then let's amplify the flower. Ooh, let's. Okay, I think that'll work. A little bit in the center. Okay, and one more for the flower in general. Or this bottom left corner. So I'm going to pull the masking so it spreads a little more. Just raise it a little bit, pull a little bit, raise a little bit, pull. Okay. And then a control line on the blue sky. Whoops. We have to make a new one. Control line on the blue sky. Just pull the highlights in. And let's pull the vibrancy back on this corner. And then push the highlights again. And the midtones. All right. And a little bit more. I'm not sure. Let's try this. Something's still not right. Push. All right, so before and after. Just trying to see where I'm at. I need a little bit more light in the background. So I need. Excuse me. Make this a little smaller. Okay. Just a couple. Oops. Let me do one more little dab here. One more little dab right there. Okay. I'm going to call it there. Maybe just brush this ridiculous thing out like that. And a tiny bit of vignette, maybe. Yeah. That's good right there. All right, I'm going to call it there. So there's the before and after. Yeah, just cropping in so the flowers a little bigger in the frame. And I like the waterfall in the background. I have mixed feelings though. I was thinking of going much tighter, but then the flower would have been, it's not the best angle on the flower to get in real tight. I would like a little bit more, a little bit lower position of the camera to the flower, and then I would have got in much tighter. But because you're kind of looking down at the flower a little bit, I decided to just keep more of the frame in the background, you know, keep a bigger, much larger crop than I otherwise normally would with a flower photo. And then just amplifying the lighting on the flower. But I didn't want to de-emphasize the background too much because then it would kind of look weird that the flower is so much brighter than everything in the background. So that's why I put little dabs. It looks like there's more of this same kind of flower in the background, like these little yellow dots. So that's why I kind of put little dabs here and there when I was doing my editing. Um, you know, like just dab here, as you saw while I was editing. Because I wanted to kind of balance the luminance of this flower with all the other flowers that are similar to it in the background, if that makes sense. Okay, last one. Let's see. Okay, I think we need to crop a little bit here. Let me put some optical corrections in and do my normal square crop. But since we've already kind of lost the legs and the tail feathers, which is okay, but then we don't have any grass down here, no foreground. So I'm just going to get rid of that whole thing and then work on a composition that balances this bird in the frame. A little bit more. Okay, and then this one grass leaf is bothering me. Or grass blade, I should call it. See if I can fix that. Ooh. If we fix it up here. Oh, I had it on clone. Shoot. Okay, hold on. Let me try that again. I want it to be on repair. So we'll move this over here. Okay, that's good. And then we'll just fix this. Okay, good. All right, let's work on the exposure a bit. So we'll just do some local adjustments. I'm going to start with the eye. See a tiny bit of yellow in there, but not much. Let me warm it up a bit and see if I can bring that out a tiny bit. Okay. And then just a slight pull on the blacks. Okay. All right, let's fix some of the highlights, because I think these are definitely fixable. There. Yeah, these are too strong. Let me make a new one. And just use a brush. And let's desaturate a tiny bit. Okay. All right, I think that's, well, let me go back to these highlights and brush. I'm going to turn the flow, do opacity too. I want to just soften that a little bit here. Okay. And then we'll add a tiny bit here. Oh, this is it's harder than I thought it would be. Am I making any difference at all? Let me see. Not much. What am I missing here? Let me, okay, I got to look at these side by side. Something I'm missing. The crop looks good. Something with the lighting. I'm missing I'm missing something here. Do something with these flowers, maybe. I really don't know what I'm missing here because I'm just not getting the kind of pop that I was hoping for. Let's warm it up a tiny bit. Hmm. Could it be the eye? And this is, yeah, there's not much I can do in here. Let me fix this one. All right, I think, okay, I think I see it now. Chroma. All right, let me export this. um, image needs to be a little bit warmer. And a little more magenta. Okay, that's the image I want. Whew, boy, it took me a while. I mean, again, these edits are always subjective, but while I was editing this, I was like, what am I missing? What am I missing? And I'll talk about that here, or at least what, for me, what was missing. Yeah, so the image over here has, like, the first thing I missed was this image has a very strong green tint across the image. So that's really basically a white balance issue. The second thing was the lighting in the background is a little bit too strong, and it's just taking away from the bird. So I basically I raised the brightness on the bird and then lowered the brightness or luminance on the background. But I didn't want to lose sort of the strong highlights coming onto these yellow flowers. So hopefully I didn't do that too much. Uh, but yeah, I think now this looks okay to me. So there's the before and there's the after. It's just unfortunate when the sun is coming in from the back and the shadow is covering the eyes and stuff. It makes it really hard to get a good decent edit out of a bird shot because you want to see the eye uh with all its color and glory, but I had to let me compare it against the export here. So there's the before and there's the edited image. But okay, uh I think we're good. So very very good edits today. The flower, this cat I think is my favorite one that came out when you compare it to what it was before to this. I think this was probably my best edit today. That and this black and white. I thought this came out really good. Because if you compare it to the before image, this almost looks like a product photography type shot of someone using this lens. Whereas this looks more artsy fartsy to me, at least to me anyway. Uh those are my two favorite edits. I mean, they're all really nice pictures, but I think as far as editing goes, those are my two favorite. Um, sorry, I was getting all comfortable. But I'm getting a little arthritis in my hip here, so it's like it's hard to sit down for any length of time anymore. But I hope you guys like those edits and keep sending them in. I'll do some more next week. I'll try to keep the same time on Tuesdays. But just keep an eye out. I'll try and do one every week at least, but I can't promise it'll always be like on Tuesday mornings, but I'll try. Let me check in the comments if you guys had any questions while I'm here. I'm sorry the comments are so tiny. I don't know what happened um, to my chat window. I'll have to fix that in the next stream. And I don't see. So Top says I'm enjoying DxO Photolab 7 Elite. It takes some time to improve skills, but it's worth the effort. Yeah, definitely. It's my favorite editor. And as always, I have my affiliate links down below. You get a 30-day free trial, I think. And then if you buy it, I get credit. Uh I don't think there's any sales going on right now. So if you can wait until October, like Black Friday, unless something else comes up. I was trying to get some discount codes for my viewers exclusively, but he didn't send me any this week. But sometimes I get 10 or 15% off, like a coupon code. And oh, thank you, Jeff. Um, and then Rob, could you email me the final edit? Oh, okay. Let me see which one yours was. Um, oh, this bird. Yeah, I can email that to you. I'll take care of that. And someone in a short time. Oh, okay, John. I'll always do one for you, John. John John has been following me forever. Let me see if I can find it and I'll download it for you. Since I got some time, I got through these pretty quick today. Well, no, I didn't get through them quick. I just didn't get that many today. Let me find the right window to download this. I'll do one more and then we'll call it. Uh, oh, this church. Okay. Did it come in? It should show up down here. I see a couple more from Kenneth and John Allen. It should come. I'll have to do those next week. I'm just going to do one more here for John, and then we'll definitely call it then. Oh, there's a question here. Do you use the transform feature in Retouch tool much? I found it useful for reflecting and rotating. Oh, yeah. Once in a while, I use it. I don't use it a lot, but I do use it, excuse me, time to time to, push, pull, stretch the edit or the retouching so that it is perfect, right? Yeah, I do use it time to time. I just didn't see a need for it in any of these edits. But, when you're doing architecture, particularly architecture where lines have to be straight, it's really useful to make sure that when you're patching something up, it fixes, the other parts. Maybe something will come up with it in this church, but let's see. Move that window out of the way. Okay. Let me apply basic preset here. And if I do any perspective correction, it's going to chop off everything. But that's okay, maybe. This is the same church with the tombstones down here and stuff. It's a little trickier. Because I'm trying to figure out what is the interesting part in this image. I mean, the church is beautiful, but it's it's got this distortion that I can't really correct without making everything look too weird. I think this walkway up to the front door is the most interesting part, and we're gonna have to sacrifice the windows and everything else. So let me do a vertical crop. And we might be able to fix the distortion now. Not really. Yeah, that's not working. Maybe do a little bit. Yeah, we're gonna have to sacrifice the steeple, maybe. This kind of works, but I'm having a hard time. I think what I need to do is, let's do it this way. So, assuming these lines are straight. All right, there we go. Man, now let me crop. There was just enough in there. Yeah, probably, yeah. See if we can. And we'll do a little bit narrower crop. This. Okay, that works. All right, let's, I think the automatic lighting here, the smart lighting will do a good job. And all we need to do is a little bit of the local adjustments on these windows. So they got kind of a bluish tint to them, I think. Not blue, but, you know, they're not brown. I guess they're kind of a gray. So I always like to try to bring out windows and doors. So I'm going to come back to the door here in a minute. I don't think those are windows. We'll leave those be. That's where the bells go. But let's go ahead and really bring out the pop on these windows. One more here, maybe. Okay. A little bit here. And now let's work on this door. All right. Okay, let's do a little bit in the sky. Let's see if we got anything there. And the light is coming from behind us from the right. Looks like it's, yeah, a little bit from the left side, top left. So I don't think, yeah. I don't think I'm going to, let me just try something simple. Let's do a radial or a control line. Gotta make a new one. Control line. This way, and we're gonna angle it so it's kind of the same there. Oops, wrong button. All right, one more this way to that line. A little bit tighter on the luma again. And the chrome. Just the midtones. And we'll cool it off a tiny bit. All right. Oh, I'm sorry, Ellie. I'm sorry, baby. Okay. All right. I think we're good. So let me export this. I did a lot here with the perspective corrections. So it's gonna take quite a bit of okay, so as you can see, yeah, you know me, I'm an architectural guy. I like the lines to be straight as possible. So to do that, I really had to crop out all of this and go vertical. Otherwise, it would look really, really, really weird if I straightened everything out, because you just cannot do that much perspective correction and not have it look weird. So I cropped out the area that I thought would work best and was the most interesting part of the image. So, and we got good balance here. This tree balances with the steeple here. The door stands out. The windows stand out. And then I emphasized the shading on the left side and cooled it off because it's under the tree. And then I emphasized the lighting coming in here from the left, so that, you know, it just looks more natural, I think. So I think that came out good. So there's the before, and then there's the after. So when you're composing your shots, you know, sometimes you got to think about what's kind of the interesting part of the scene, right? Because getting the entire, you know, I get the entire church is really nice, but because of the angle that you had and where you were standing, because I don't know if you can stand further back or use a telephoto lens. There's a lot of variables there about why you took this entire scene of the church or the entire building. But I would, if I was there with that lens, I would have got closer, done a vertical, and got this shot rather than trying to get the entire church in and having all of that perspective distortion. Because otherwise, it just, you know, anyway, that's that's what I would go with this. But hopefully you like that edit. And then I think I did a good job with the lighting on this. You know, I really liked how I pulled in the shading on the right side and brightness on the left side. Anyway, so that is it. Now we are done. I hope you like that edit. I will be back again next week. If you guys enjoy these kind of streams, you know, please buy me a coffee in the links below or make a donation. Particularly if you send a picture in, it's really nice to get a cup of coffee with it. But either way, I enjoy doing these. Hopefully you learn a little bit. I always learn a little, and it gives me a lot of practice. And hopefully, you know, we both benefit. It's win-win, right? When I do these streams. So thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys again next week.